Nick, did you know that the United States is a giant gay empire?
It's been going that way for quite a while. For quite a while.
Yep, but with the ascension of President Biden to the top office, it's become pretty much an officially gay empire, which I find fascinating. This is the public-facing, the outward-facing look of the American imperial project is to say, hey, we're gay, and you're going to become gay too.
Like Big Gay Al
Yes.
off South Park.
Yes.
You saw this was happening when they would fly the gay pride flag in Kabul.
We'll get to that, in fact.
It's like, why would you put people's noses into? But obviously,
Well,
we'll
you
get
don't
to
fly an American flag, you fly the pride flag.
Yeah.
Because that's the real allegiance that the United States and its imperial dominion has, which is interesting. But before we begin, if you want to support us, go to lotus.com, sign up, it's only a £5 a month, and watch this latest premium podcast, which is on ancient Roman relationship advice, because of course there is nothing new under the sun, and Connor and I do an excellent job of going through this, and honestly this is one of my favorite podcasts of all time. This is such a good watch, because the Romans are right about a lot. And speaking of people who are right about a lot, let's go over to the internet's favorite quote-unquote Nazi comic strip writer, who never seems to miss. Stone Toss produced this comic a while ago, not even that long ago. Of course, you see an American flag flying above some sort of military outpost. Who is it, say the Russians? Americans. How do you know? Because it's the gay flag, that's how. Because that's what the Americans march under these days. So in 2019, the New York Times put out this article just saying, well, how did Americans flip on gay rights so quickly? And it is actually remarkable how quickly the Americans sort of flipped on this. The traditional Christian morals of America suddenly became supplanted by the morality of human rights, I suppose we describe it. So in 2004, 60% of Americans opposed same-sex marriage, with 31% in favour. And of course, in 2019, 61% support same-sex marriage, with 31% opposing it. So you can see there's some kind of moral shift in the foundations of what American morality is built on, rather than being the traditional Christian foundations, which say, well, no, marriage is between a man and a woman because gay sex is sinful according to the Bible. Not my opinion. I'm an atheist. The complete opposite has now happened. So now it's on the secular foundations. And so marriage is not a sacred institution. Marriage is merely a legal institution. And so, of course, what difference does it make? There's nothing more to it than simply getting the piece of paper and signing it up to it. So the question is, how married are gays getting, I suppose? Have you ever met a married gay?
I've met one or two, yeah.
Yeah. One or two.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it turns out that literally 10% of gays bother getting gay married. So it's not like, the heterosexual community where it's something like 60 or 70%, where it used to be a lot higher. It's a very hetero thing to get married, even though gay marriage is legal, because gays just don't seem to want to get married. So this looks more like a wedge issue that was being leveraged for political purposes, rather than a genuine organic desire on the part of the gay community, where 90% of them are just like, nah, it's fine. Interestingly, the divorce rates are actually lower for gay men than for heterosexual couples, at 15% for gay marriages and 18% for the heterosexual counterparts. Except for when it comes to lesbians. The lesbian divorce rate is 30%.
Right, wow. 3 times. What's that compared to gay men? Rate?
Twice as much.
Twice as much, right.
I wonder why the lesbians are getting divorced so often.
Well, we've all lived with women, so I think part of that we could understand.
Anyway, moving on to 2020, global acceptance of homosexuality is on the rise. As US, no, this is the wrong one. You go back to it's on the rise. Pew study found that there's been substantial changes in public opinion in, say, the United States, where 72% say homosexuality should be accepted, which is an increase of 46% since 1994 and 51% in 2002. And in other foreign places like Japan and Mexico, just over half said they accepted homosexuality, whereas in 2002, nearly 7 in 10 respondents approve. And so you can see that this is massively increasing. And even in places like India, where even in 2022, I think this was 2021, it was only 37% said they accept homosexuality. That's still a massive increase in the number of people who do. And that's perfectly fine by my opinion. I don't think that we should be discriminating against people on the basis of their sexuality in any significant capacity. I mean, what a private organization does is what a private organization does. I mean, I don't think churches should be forced to marry people of any stripe, actually. But you'll notice that much of the Islamic global south still rejects the holy doctrine of LGBT rights. There's a quick map for you. Let's see where I'm going with this. So anyway, what does the American Imperial Empire think of that? Well, of course, they're not very happy. We go to the notorious Council on Foreign Relations to have a look at their opinion on it. For example, they'll say, well, the global campaign to secure protections for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and other LGBTQ plus people has made significant progress in recent decades, especially in the realm of marriage equality. So you can see this isn't just something that they think, well, that's good. They're actively on the march. We need to have gays everywhere, getting married everywhere, regardless.
It's more than that.
Yeah.
It's the T in the Q, and then mostly it's that plus at the end.
Exactly.
So this isn't just about being gay.
No.
It's about so much more than that.
Yes. And even if it was just about being gay, why does it need its own separate flag? Why does it need to be this big, unique agenda? You know? Because I mean, like, you'd think, well, people being executed for any reason, like, it's assuming they're not convicted criminals, but just arbitrarily singled out for a characteristic they held. Well, that's bad, no matter who's doing it. So you don't need to actually make a special exception for them being gay. It could be for any reason. They could be Jewish, they could be whatever. You know, you say, well, don't single them out and kill them because of this intrinsic characteristic, because that's wrong. Punish them if they commit a crime. Anyway, so they complain that Trump deprioritized the promotion of LGBTQ plus rights in US foreign policy, and what this led to was an erosion of US global standing on human rights issues. And so this is what Joe Biden has to really deal with in his position as president. He's expected to pursue a robust LGBTQ plus rights advocacy. He has vowed to work closely with allies and like-minded governments to ensure that violence and discrimination against LGBTQ plus individuals does not go unchecked. The Biden administration could, for instance, confront illiberal crackdowns in Eastern and Central Europe, targeted harassment by law enforcement in the Middle East, North Africa, and Sub-Saharan Africa with sanctions, while it also expanding asylum protections for LGBTQ individuals seeking refuge in the United States. I mean, this is actually a campaign of gay imperialism.
Yeah. And then you wonder why so many countries, especially in the Middle East, chant, you know, America is evil.
Yeah. I mean,
America is Satan.
How yeah, I mean, like, legitimately, how far away from an invasion of Iraq is Joe Biden to liberate the gays? Like, okay, weapons of mass destruction, not that bothered about that, you know? No, we need to go in there to save their gays. You can see the rhetoric building. Now, Joe Biden did campaign on a promise of gay imperialism as well. I mean, as you can see from his campaign website, the Biden plan to advance LGBTQ plus equality in America and around the world. This is all over the place. As president, Biden will stand with the LGBT plus community to ensure America finally lives up to the promise on which it was founded, equality for all. Yeah, okay, the promise that America was founded on. But does that mean that the promise that America was founded on is every other country around the world has to commit to this?
And what does that do for diversity?
Great
You're
question.
not very diverse when you're imposing all your views and morality on the rest of the world.
Especially when your version of morality is to specifically, essentially undermine the Abrahamic religions. Because like them or lump them, you know, they have their view on homosexuality, and it's pretty consistent across the religions.
Well, we've destroyed Christianity now, so now they're looking at Islam, and they're going to have a bit more of a fight with Islam.
They probably will. I imagine the Muslims will be less amenable to liberal arguments, shall we say. But he will provide the moral leadership and to champion equal rights for LGBT plus people to ensure our laws and institutions protect and enforce their rights and advance their equality globally. And of course, Joe Biden does not just talk on this issue. This is one of those things that Joe Biden has actually taken serious action on. I mean, for example, his administration, as Japan noted, is basically a gay administration. Like, he's got the record number of LGBTQ plus QI plus officials. So this, obviously, some of these are quite famous now. You've got Rachel Levine, the transgender person who's now some sort of admiral.
The luggage stealer.
I was going to say, I can't remember the guy well, I don't even know, don't dare misgender them. But the individual who keeps stealing luggage and then wearing the clothes. The nuclear.
That was
nuclear
funny
advisor.
when that black woman was on TV going, "That's my dress."
It's so inclusive, you see. It's so inclusive. And in February 2021, it was when Biden actually began the campaign of gay imperialism. He signed a foreign policy memo putting the US at the forefront of global LGBTQ rights. This is just an unvarnished good. There's just nothing negative that will come from this, you see. It was a memorandum of advancing the human rights of lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and intersex persons. Don't know why he left off Two-Spirit. Do you not think there are Two-Spirit people in Africa who need that liberation? Honestly, Joe, so regressive. But this directs American agencies operating abroad to ensure the United States diplomacy and foreign assistance promote and protect the human rights of the alphabet people. It calls for agencies to combat the criminalization of LGBTQ identity or conduct, protect LGBTQ refugees and asylum seekers, address human rights abuses, blah, 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 because there are approximately 70 countries around the world that currently have laws criminalizing same-sex relations between consenting adults. So literally, Joe Biden's like, look, we're going to essentially invade Iraq to liberate the queers. And that's why the US Embassy in Kabul, if we can get the picture up, wonderful. This was in June 2021, before the catastrophic Afghan withdrawal, obviously. And this was the last memory that the Afghans have of the Americans. Ah, yes, a big gay flag.
It's as if they have no idea what they're doing. It's, I mean, at least with the British Empire, we use something called hearts and minds, where we tried to win people over.
Yes.
And we accepted some of their cultural practices that we didn't agree with because we knew it was too much to push on that. But they've just gone absolutely nuclear on this. And I'm sick and tired of it being referred to. I'm not criticising you per se.
No.
This isn't a gay agenda. This is a queer agenda. This is the alphabet people agenda. If you're a gay man out there,
ideological agenda.
Yeah,
that's a thing.
If you're a gay man out there, you need to start picking sides, because when all this collapses and implodes, the people who will suffer the most are the gay men will suffer the most. All these other lunatics will just fade back into society, and you'll never know.
And if you're a gay person or whatever, if you feel that these people are somehow speaking for you, you just have to ask yourself a simple question. Which flag do you pledge allegiance to? Is it the rainbow flag or the American flag? And if you're on the side of the American flag, you're not on these people's side. And if it's this side, if it's this flag, well, then you're a traitor to your own country. So, you might want to think about that. But anyway, how many Afghans do you think this won over? Just have interest. I don't know. So if you can scroll down, I don't know how. Like, I found this now. I don't know how true this image is. Obviously, it's entirely possible that this literal LGBTQ plus Black Lives Matter bomb is a Photoshop.
It is, but I can also see it wouldn't surprise me if someone got promoted for doing that.
Exactly. It's a very convincing Photoshop. Like, if you look at the shadows and the light reflection on the Black Lives Matter sticker, it looks very real. So, I mean, it could be a very good Photoshop. Or what we could call it is an artist's impression of the US military and their current policy. Because I'm inclined to believe it's real. Not that I know or anything like that.
Well, I can guarantee that bomb was for the Middle East or Afghanistan.
Yes,
because it doesn't say Brown Lives Matter.
Yeah, imagine dropping Black Lives Matter bombs on Africa.
Exactly. Talk about bad optics there.
Anyway, so the reason I bring this up is because recently one of the Biden spokespeople were asked, is this really about your foreign policy? And he was like, yeah, of course it is. Of course our foreign policy is spreading gay everywhere. What are you talking about? Let's watch.
And President Biden has been nothing but consistent about his foundational belief in human rights, and LGBTQ plus rights are human rights. And we, again, back to the earlier question, are never going to shy away, be bashful about speaking up for those rights and for individuals to live as they deem fit, as they want to live. And that's something that's a core part of our foreign policy, and it will remain so.
Core part of the foreign policy. Save the gays. Now, the question one might raise is, well, who gave America the authority to begin terraforming the world in its own image?
I think they jumped on that because they have nothing else to give.
That's a great point. Why else would you need American interference? Well, your gays, they need saving.
We need a reason to make you think like us and to do as you're told. It can't be these things anymore because even we don't believe in that. We'll use this to beat you with now.
Yep. The Americans can't promote capitalism and freedom anymore, considering you are right. They don't even believe in these things themselves anymore, the American administration. So now it's about saving the minorities. That's the only thing. Minoritarianism. It's the only thing the American imperial project can promote anymore to sustain its own legitimacy.
I mean, they could do this in a way that I would support them. So if the message was, we're not going to support regimes that kill gay people, burn them to death, but we're also not going to support regimes that burn witches, or kill Christian children, or mutilate Muslim girls. There's things we could all agree on. Because it's the actions they're taking, but this is just the ideology.
That's right. Yeah, that's exactly the right way to frame it. Don't think that this is purely confined to the United States, of course. This is the head of MI6, Richard Moore. With the tragedy and destruction unfolding so distressingly in Ukraine, we should remember the values and hard-won freedoms that distinguish us from Putin. None more than LGBT plus rights. Why are we better than Putin? Well, we don't persecute the gays.
Well, we did 70 years ago.
I guess so. I guess it's been a very short period of time that we've been better than Putin for. But isn't that amazing? That's the only reason he can pick. But we need to figure out what distinguishes us from Putin. We don't persecute gays. Oh, brilliant. Putin murders journalists, man. Like, but like, you know, we celebrate gays. We've got a pride flag. Putin doesn't have a pride flag. Yeah, but we don't murder journalists. Like, isn't that good? You know, we're not engaging in imperial wars on our neighbors. Isn't that good? Well, I mean, I suppose we can possibly not say that. But there are surely other things about the United Kingdom other than LGBT plus rights that we can distinguish ourselves from Putin with. But anyway, I guess not. And that's if you can just go back and just click on his profile a second. What I love about his profile, he's Chief of UK Secret Intelligence Service. Him.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
That's how we got the job.
Of course that's how we got the job. So the reason I bring all this up is it comes on the heels of Uganda, evil Uganda, anti-imperialist Uganda, which has passed an anti-gay bill in its parliament. And so I suppose this is kind of like the gauntlet is down. Go to the next one, John. What is Joe Biden going to do about this?
Well, Joe Biden now, I'm beginning to think, could be a racist.
I'm thinking that actually maybe he's also anti-gay. Because remember, silence is complicity.
Anti-African.
Anti-African, anti-gay. Just someone who is watching a gay genocide taking place right now and is complicit with it. He's not even going to invade Uganda. He's not going to liberate the country for the gay imperial agenda.
Why not?
I can't even imagine. It's literally the forefront of his foreign policy. It's all that America's interaction with the world revolves around. And yet, in the face of that, Uganda has passed a bill that has criminalized people identifying as LGBT and puts them in jail for 10 years. Now, I mean, I think that's immoral. I think that something must be done. Surely, Joe, if this is literally all you care about, or, now, forgive me for being cynical here, it could be that this is literally just the last gasps of the American imperial regime that can't find legitimacy anywhere else.
If you appreciated that segment from the podcast, The Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content that's on the site, such as the premium articles. This one's on the ruins of civilization, and an audio track for silver and gold tier listeners. And if you'd like to find out what else is being put out, you can follow on Getter at lotuseaters_com on Getter. Thank you, and goodbye.